Welcome back to It's All Geek to Me, a podcast where two geeks were infected with illithid parasites and are racing to get them removed before Ceramorphosis hits. So I finished The Matrix.
Oh my god, you finished The Matrix? I also finished The Matrix.
That's crazy. We also started with a character that I predicted was going to die, who dies almost immediately. Mouse.
Oh, Mouse.
I was right.
Yeah.
I knew he was going to die, but I gotta say, I'm glad he did. I can't believe
believe
Oh, you want to schedule some
see
time
the lady with
that
the red
lady in red?
Oh my god, that went over my head when I was 10. But in this age, I was like, yeah, I actually would like to schedule some time with the lady in the red dress.
Okay, Mouse, relax.
I am
him
Mouse.
like looking at like a picture of her before he dies too.
Yeah.
No, I didn't like him. I'm glad that he's out of the picture. He was annoying.
Bimby.
A lot of people died. A lot actually happened in the second half of the movie. In the beginning, you said like not much happened
In the first half.
Didn't realize it
How
until I
much?
watched the second half, where I was like, this is like almost not a different movie, but like
So much happens. The
So
first
much
half was
more.
just so much setup.
Yeah.
And this was execution.
I'm surprised we even had that much to talk about in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, it's just the theories of the Matrix and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
And also how I traveled.
And how you traveled to a different
If you missed
dimension.
that, go back and watch it.
Yeah,
'cause
you
it's
should definitely watch
important.
the first half of this episode before you watch the second.
Well, yeah, that is
this episode?
I guess you have to watch that. So anyway, we also went to the Oracle. Mm-hmm. That was a loaded one too. Well, a lot happens even before the Oracle. There's like the car ride where Neo asks Trinity what
The Oracle
told her, yeah. And I was like, this is, in the Avatar when Katara gets told, like, oh, you're going to fall in love with a very powerful bender. I was like, that's what happened to her.
Yeah.
Because she was like,
Oh, so you guessed that's what it was?
100%.
Oh, man.
As soon as she started like getting nervous, I was like, okay, so she's in love with him. I mean, I knew that she was in love with him from the beginning, but like there was nothing that led up to that. But they do fall in love, I guess.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think something negative to say about the movie is I don't think that love story was developed enough for me. It felt very one-sided. I didn't really feel
required.
it for Neo.
I feel like every action movie, especially from that time, there was like, well, there has to be.
Yeah.
There has to be
I just
romance.
wish there was a scene or a conversation.
With him
With
being
him.
interested. He's
Yeah.
like just singularly focused on the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
And like she's like,
But I'm in love with
hey,
you.
Neo. Which I get, but also
Yeah.
it's very one-sided.
But also finding out later in the movie, we find out what the Oracle did say to her, which was that she was going to fall in love with the one. So when Morpheus is like, oh yeah, I found him, of course she's going to be hella interested.
yeah, she's
Like,
ready.
gotta look good. But I mean, she had been watching him before he even came out of the Matrix.
Yeah.
She was watching him way before then. So I get her love for him. His love to her, I mean, she's hot, so I fall in love too.
Well, yeah.
She's cool.
Objectively.
She's
very-
strong. She's independent.
Okay, Leah, take it down a few notches.
I'm not Trinity. I'm Neo.
If you're Trinity, you're feeling a lot of self-love.
Yeah,
What's that little hump?
I was sticking to the
That's
couch.
why I always wear the same pants.
Yeah, I'm sticking to the couch. It's hot
This
today.
is my uniform for this. I'm always gonna wear these.
Okay,
And
I
I'm
like
always
that.
just gonna wear this necklace so that I don't like make too much noise because it's my only plastic necklace. You can't really hear it.
And then you always wear this one. If
I
you
always
take
wear
it
the
off,
trigger.
her head falls off.
Yeah, head falls off. Very, very niche millennial reference there. Oh man, I was gonna say something about Trinity, but now I've forgotten
That she's cool.
about their love, but I don't remember.
Okay, well maybe
It'll come up
back to you.
But yeah, so we go see the Oracle and
See all the crazy little supernatural
we
kids.
saw Aang, the Avatar.
Little Aang, the Avatar was there.
He was the one back then. So she referred to the other people as other potentials.
Potentials.
So I was wondering, is that potentials to take out
I think so.
or other potential messiahs?
Okay.
Whatever.
Ones. I had originally, like early on, having watched this movie, interpreted it that way. But yeah, I think it's potentials to take out of the Matrix.
Yeah.
Because obviously they're already defying the laws of the Matrix. You know, what we know about the one is he can defy the laws of the Matrix. Other people obviously can, but his ability is just
Unparalleled.
better than everybody else's. But I loved the conversation that he had with Aang about the spoon.
Yeah.
And being like, you can't bend the spoon, but the trick is that there is no spoon. The way to break the Matrix is like, if you know that nothing is real, then you know real in the sense of physical, tactile, like exists, not
Yeah.
just a figment of a program. If you know that it's not, you know, what we describe as real, then it doesn't have any laws of physics and anything can happen. So he bent the
That's
spoon.
really cool.
Yeah.
That is a really cool thought. I was just thinking as you were saying that, I probably looked like I was zoning like crazy, but I was just thinking like, imagine that, like if was real.
Yeah. And you could just bend things.
Like
well, that's why I feel like I'm a blue
it.
pill, because I'd be like, well, I'm happy the Matrix real. I'm going to break it from the inside.
That's the red pill.
No, I take the blue pill. Oh, yeah, I guess. That's so annoying because, like, I want to be a blue pill who can do, like, Neo things.
You would have to be a red pill then.
I don't want to get slopped.
I'm not joining you. I'm staying here with my steak.
Yeah.
So then he goes in to see the Oracle. This part was cool. So she's just like an old lady, which she was like, I bet you weren't expecting me. I was fully expecting that. Also because I have seen, you remember those spoof movies? I don't know if it was Scary Movie or like Not Another Teen Movie. One of those where there was the Oracle who was like finishing everyone's sentences.
I've never seen those movies, but I can.
They're so good.
I've seen the first Scary Movie.
They're all very good.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. There's a Ring one, The Ring.
Oh, fun.
Which we keep bringing up.
Yeah.
Can't stop.
Love The Ring.
I love The Ring. Oh, wait. Can I just say?
Yes, Kelly?
I feel like I sit like this. And
It's like, just in case nobody knows, I'm married. Here's my ring. Everybody look at it.
I just like sitting like this. I have realized now that in our videos, it just seems like I'm like, hey, everybody.
Show it off, baby. It's a pretty ring.
Thank you. But like, just so you know that I'm doing this, I'm sorry.
It's just she does it.
It's just how I sit. I
Yeah.
feel like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, I mean, when I'm talking, for some reason, I keep also going like this. It's so interesting, like, being on video now instead of being just in audio. Because now I have to be, like, hyper aware. Because I'm also noticing that sometimes when you talk, I'm like,
You're like,
no, I always
going.
listen. I always listen to everything you have to say, Leah. Stop it. I listen so much, and
I listen so hard.
I listen so hard. I retain everything you say. I have a log in my brain of every single thing Leah Voicey has ever said to me.
That's what they uploaded into your brain.
Yeah.
When you left the Matrix.
No.
Every conversation we've ever had.
That's all I know.
You're
Fine
like,
dining.
you know what I'd
breathing.
love?
Leah.
Can I have a log of the conversations that me and this dummy have had?
What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say something even meaner about myself.
Hey, don't
Don't
say
talk about
that.
my friend that way.
Don't talk about my friend that way. Stop being mean to her.
Okay, let's talk about the Oracle.
Oh,
Yeah.
should we talk about the Matrix? So, the Oracle, she's just like this random old lady. I didn't think she was that old. I don't know if it was like the actor was like kind of young.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't come in. She was like, hello, my name's the Oracle, and I'm 57
Yeah,
years
that's
old.
true. Yeah, but she was like, bet you weren't expecting a little old lady. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, well, first of all, I was. Second of all, she wasn't even as old as I was expecting.
Yeah. From Neo's perspective, because like other programs he's met.
Yeah, he keeps on thinking they're men.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
So she's making cookies. She's like, oh, like, I'll tell you to sit down, but I know you're not going to sit down anyway. And don't worry about the vase. And then he's like, oh, what? And then he breaks a vase, which I immediately wrote down, like, what if she hadn't said it? But then she says.
Oh, shoot. Really?
She was like.
You predicted it.
I was like, no, because I was annoyed. Because I was like, that's the thing that bothers me when people are like, oh, like that exact thing. Don't worry about the vase. And then you break the vase. It's like, knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you just caused it to happen. But yeah, so she brings up and she's like, would you have done it if I hadn't said anything?
Said it.
So I was like, ooh, she got me.
And I think that that's a prevalent theme in stories about free will or knowing the future. You know, a lot of times in stories, a character will learn the future and then the whole time they're like working to not have that future happen. But I think that if you know the future, you can't change it. The only time you have free will is before knowing it. I think by the Oracle saying that she did actually bring that into fruition, because my interpretation of her is that she sees different pathways.
Yeah, I fully agree with that.
Yeah, and she just tells the people what they need to hear to like get to the correct outcome from her perspective.
Yeah, which actually brings to the next interesting thing that she says. I don't remember exactly how the conversation goes, but she's like, oh, you know what I'm going to say. And he's like, I'm not the one. And she's like, I'm sorry. But she doesn't ever say you're not the one. Yeah, which we knew, obviously. The movie's about
I
him.
still don't think that Neo is the one.
What do you mean?
I don't think Neo's
he's
the one.
It's already over.
Just because they said he's the one, he's the one.
Because he's Neo.
I don't think he's the one. I have more to say on that. But with the Oracle, my question too is if she said, you already know what I'm going to say, and he said, I'm the one, what would she have said?
But I think the thing is that she wanted to know whether or not he believed. Because I think it took, if he had come to her and said, I'm the one, then she would be like, yeah.
You are the one.
You're the one. It's the same as like the do or do not. There's no try or whatever version they said for the Matrix. Not Star Wars. Got more Star Wars socks on, by the way. Today. I think it's just because he has to 100% believe it in order to be the one. But he does believe it in the end.
He does in the end. The way that I interpreted it is I do think that if he said, I'm the one, she would have affirmed that. Mm-hmm. But I don't think his being the one mattered because he was going to act regardless. Whether he was the one or not, he had the goodness in him to act as if he was the one. And even in the end, him believing he was the one, believing is what makes things real.
Yeah.
And so him believing the
what
one.
Is real?
Exactly. It's such a roundabout question because him believing that he was the one made him the one.
Yeah.
But if he never believed he was the one, I think he still could have done all those things without thinking he was the one. I don't think he was the one. I think Morpheus needed someone to believe in.
Yeah.
It's just sort of this belief that there is no one. Or maybe Trinity is the one. Is another theory that I've always had, is that Trinity is the one.
Really?
How did he come back to life? She was there the whole time.
That I don't like. I know that they're in love and it ends up being fine, but a little non-consensual kissing with a dead body.
No. That's not okay. I didn't like that either. That would not fly today. Also, did not age well.
There was no indication of romance before that.
Yeah, exactly.
So she's just like, this is the same thing as what Cypher was doing to her earlier in the movie, where he's like...
Which was disgusting.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Not surprising, but disgusting.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I think that's wrong, and I think it's something that wouldn't be written into television today. But I think we have to, like, see it from the perspective that, like, he was in love with her.
Yeah.
And that's all we can really say from it, is he, even though he gave no indication.
I was annoyed by that because I hate when, and this is something I think that happened a lot back then, is, I hate even saying back then. Back in the day.
Back in the day.
5 years ago. In my mind, 5 years ago. I hate this idea that like Neo is this man who has a whole variety of interests. He has a mission. He's got things that he wants. He has like a huge adventure that he has to go on, and Trinity is in love.
Yeah.
That's her thing.
I do wish that she had more agency, because I agree with you that I think she started the movie having a lot more agency, and then having this prophecy and then meeting the one, it changes her perspective. But then she does have that one really cool line where he's like, I'm going. And she's like, well, I'm coming too. And he's like, no, you're not. And she's like, well, I'm the captain of this ship. Yeah.
They planned this movie to be a part of a series?
I think, I have to assume.
It does seem like it could.
They made a 600-page storyboard for this movie. I have to assume that they pitched it as a trilogy.
Yeah. Wow.
Like,
that's
crazy.
A lot.
I think that ending gave Trinity a bit of her agency back when she was like,
talk about the end yet.
Well, okay. I just want to talk more about Trinity and her agency as a character.
You don't get to talk about her yet.
Fine, take away my agency as a character.
Let the men speak. Anyway, where was I in my notes? Okay, this is interesting. So they I don't think they actually ever explicitly said what they were doing, but they went into a building. Mm-hmm. I guess it was an exit maybe. And it was like kind of like an Alice in Wonderland building. I always think the black and white checkerboard floor, it's like very reminiscent of Alice in Wonderland. Yeah.
That's what I have in my bathroom.
Oh yeah, you do have that in your bathroom. Well, sometimes I feel like it gives a retro vibe, but sometimes, especially in this type of setting with like very ornate vibes, it's like very Alice in Wonderland-y.
Yeah, I do.
But yeah, so they go to a place, it ends up being a trap because there's like the whole deja vu moment. Which I love. I always have deja vu.
Yeah.
It's read something about it. I don't know if we talked about it or if we did, it wasn't on the podcast, but like the way that your brain has deja vu is like if you're tired, I think it is, that like you think that you've experienced something, but it's just like your brain being tired.
I've heard someone explain it once where in your brain you have two filing cabinets, and one of them is long-term memory and one of them is short-term memory. And deja vu is that memory getting filed into the wrong cabinet, where it should go into your short-term memory, but it gets put into your long-term memory, so you think you've experienced it before.
That's interesting.
Or it could be multiple timelines, Matrix. Yeah. I mean, there's so many theories to it.
It happens to me a lot. I actually, I used to take a medication that made it so that I couldn't really tell if I was awake or not.
Oh, good. That sounds safe.
I don't know why, but I would always get this weird deja vu sensation. I was tired all the time also because it made me sleep a lot. But I would also like always get this thing where I would be like walking through somewhere and I would be like, I have been here before, even though I've never in my life been here. Yeah. So I was like always that kind of feeling.
I get deja vu a lot. And I think as a kid, this scared me. So it doesn't really happen anymore because I didn't nurture it. I like shoved it away because it freaked me out. But I used to have premonition dreams.
Really? Wait, I had one once too.
Yeah.
It wasn't an important premonition. I just remember once I had a dream that I was like in a very distinct kitchen and there was like a chair and I knew that somebody was going to die. It wasn't that big of a premonition, but it always stuck with me because it was a terrifying dream in my mind, even though nothing happened in it. There was just a chair in a very distinct kitchen that I had never been in. And then I remember remember like a year later, my sister started dating somebody and we were trick-or-treating in that neighborhood because we were young. And
you told me this story.
Yeah. And we went into his house and I was like, we have to get out of here. I have chills
because it was the kitchen.
Because it was the kitchen. And I had never been in that kitchen. I must have been like 13. This was not a time where there was like Facebook pictures of someone's house. Like I had never been there before.
And as soon as you walked in, you knew.
As soon as I walked in, I knew. And like, I was just like, we got to get out of here. And we booked it.
And I wonder what would happen if you stayed.
Yeah. Somebody would have died.
Yeah. My premonition dream was not as ominous, but I used to have this recurring dream about this bedroom with this like weird tropical.
Oh, I thought it was.
It has nothing to do with you.
I dreamt about being my friend.
I dreamt about being your friend. No, it was when I was like 4 or 5, 3, 4, 5, like around that time. I used to have this dream of this bedroom with this like weird tropical wallpaper. And then when my family moved, we moved from a townhouse into a house. And my parents' bedroom in that house, I remember we were looking at the house for the first time, or my parents said, we bought this house, this is where we're going to live. And we walked into their bedroom and it was the bedroom from my dreams.
That's so fun.
Which was crazy. I was freaked out by it though, but it wasn't anything scary.
You know what's interesting is like now I feel like it's so much harder to have a premonition because it's so easy to be like, well, you must have seen it on like Instagram.
Online or something.
You know,
yeah.
Like back then, there was not that availability.
No, there's no way I could have ever seen.
Yeah, no
the internet
way.
Didn't exist yet.
Yeah, it's not like you were like, you happened to be on Zillow that day. And you were like
at 4 years
through.
old. Like, let's look at the $1 million houses.
But we do
I do
that.
Now, yeah.
But yeah, so like now anything that you see, you could have seen.
Yeah, exactly.
Online somewhere. But
so yeah,
back then,
a lot of theories for what deja vu could be, but I love how it's utilized in this movie.
In this way, it's like an exact moment.
Oh,
but
yeah.
But what that means is that something in the Matrix
has changed. And I
is
love
cool.
how scared everybody immediately gets. He's like, oh, deja vu. And they're like, what did you say?
Yeah.
What did you see?
He's almost like,
I just
nervous.
saw a cat, guys.
Yeah.
It's not that big a deal.
So now this was where I started to get a little murky because I wasn't really understand. So Mouse was like, oh, it's trapped. He tries to get out the window and it's bricked up.
That's what changed.
That's a weird way of phrasing it. It's got bricks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing that changed. But that's the thing that confuses me because I'm like, they know they're in the Matrix. Why doesn't he just dream that the window is there?
He's not the one.
So the kid with the spoon wasn't.
Yeah, but I think everybody has like different abilities and powers, and there's only like so much that a person can affect within the Matrix.
Okay.
Especially if you're working with the opposition. Well, not working, you're working against the opposition. They're changing things, you're changing things back. Like who's going to win in the end?
Yeah,
you know?
and I mean, they're obviously very strong programs that can do that.
And I think these are like little plot holes too, because even the kids at the Oracle's house, whoever oversees this, how do they not know about those kids? How do they not know about the Oracle? So there's
like a whole room of stuff.
Yeah.
It should have been like more black market, you know what I mean? Like more sneaky.
But they're just like in some apartment.
Yeah, they're just in someone's house. But yeah, so Mouse dies. Called it. Knew that was going to happen.
I was really sad about that.
I was cheering.
I felt like I was died whooping when Mouse
I said,
died.
yes, Leah's gone.
No.
I'm just kidding. No, but I wasn't a huge fan of him. But yeah, so he dies and then Tank has to like guide them out, but the agents come in. And they're not agents at that point. They're like actual cops or like a SWAT team or something.
Yeah.
So the agents can turn into whoever they want.
I don't think they can turn into anybody. I think some people in the world are programs, are actually NPCs.
Oh, like you were saying.
Yeah, like how many people exist. But it could be that. I'm murky on that fact of whether or not they can turn into any person and take over anyone's consciousness. Honestly, they probably can.
But that's also an interesting thing because that's kind of like similar to the deja vu or like, oh, are we living in a simulation? Where it's like, I know I just had an experience, but I don't remember. Do you ever, when you're driving somewhere, if you drive to the same like workplace or school or something every single day, and sometimes you're just there and you're like,
wait, I don't remember making any of those
turns. I do not
turns.
remember driving.
Yeah. The autopilot.
Like almost like that kind of thing. Yeah. So it's really interesting. But so they start sneaking through the walls. This was another thing. I wasn't sure if it was intentional, but Cypher is the one that gets them found out. He's like coughing.
I think that was intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate him.
Yeah, he sucks.
I don't know. It must have been filmed right around the same time as The Sopranos.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I was like,
timing
he
makes
looks
sense.
the same.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. But then I'm like, wait, these were filmed like probably within 5 years of each
You're just
other.
watching them both right now.
Yeah.
To you, The Sopranos is like a brand new show.
Yeah, it is, even though it's very, very 90s.
Yeah.
Actually, I think at the point that I'm watching it now, it's like
the 2000s.
Yeah. But it's still like very, very 90s coded to me.
Which I love. I love that era.
You're giving a little bit of a 90s vibe today.
I feel it.
Yeah.
Definitely the color of these shorts. ghosts.
I really thought I was matrixing.
I do like that you matrixed.
I don't have
thought
like
about
a
it.
I don't have like
Oh, I
a
still have these over
patent
here.
leather jacket. Oh no. Oh, you don't have to wear those.
Thank you for saying I don't have to, but I think I should.
You like kind of look like a cartoon character, but I can't think of who.
Oh, it's that. I know who it is.
Who? From like Doug?
Yeah, it's a Doug character.
It's a Doug character.
Who wears like funny glasses. I
Yeah.
can't think of who they are though.
Yeah.
I'll take them off.
Anywho, so Agent Smith is going to get Morpheus.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's going to get Neo, but then Morpheus basically sacrifices himself. Not fully, but that's what happened with the Oracle. She was like, oh, you're going to have a choice. Either you're going to die or Morpheus is going to die. So figure it out.
Yeah.
And Neo's like, I don't want that. So Morpheus starts fighting Agent Smith, which is a cool battle, but he's not doing well.
Yeah.
But I don't think we talked about this in part 1, but we had learned that nobody can ever beat an agent.
Yeah.
Except for the one.
The one is the only one.
Where did this prophecy come from? This was just from the Oracle.
The Oracle, which
She was
again, I'm just like, unreliable narrator. Like, I don't believe her. She just
Yeah.
knows how to get to the ending that she wants, which is why I don't think the one is a real thing.
I would hate to have powers that could see the future because I would
Oh my
just
gosh,
constantly
me
be stressed.
too.
Although I always have this question: if you could see a glimpse, just like 1 second, or I guess I'll say 10 seconds, you can see a 10-second window into a random point in your future, like 2035, random 10 seconds. Would you do it?
No.
I'm so curious. Knowing that it won't change no matter what.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I would so do it. I wouldn't do it if it could change. Just
Okay.
because I would be
Then
like,
you'd be worried about.
because at that point you're just watching a TV show.
Yeah.
Like if it's good, then I'm worried
But
that
what
it's
if it's
gonna...
bad? I guess you have a lot of time to prepare.
Yeah, you mentally prepare yourself for it. Ooh, did you ever read the book In 5 Years? I think it's
No.
Rebecca Searle. Basically, like in the beginning of the book, this girl sees a glimpse into her future. Like she's engaged to somebody, she has like a great job. She sees 5 years into the future, and it's like different guy, different job. Like it's all bad.
Oh, no.
Not bad, but then
See, that's why I don't want to know.
I thought it was a really interesting story. It does give you time to prepare, but it also, the same way the Oracle was saying, like, if I hadn't said it, would you have knocked over the vase?
Yeah.
Like, if she hadn't seen that, would that be how her life turned out?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's why I'm like, this whole one business, it came from the Oracle. I don't believe it, that it's real.
I mean, I still believe it.
Atheist over here.
Oh, no.
But how about this next part with
The
Cypher
next part
leaving
gets
the
crazy.
Matrix?
So yeah, I wrote down notes because I don't know if I'm going to know the exact order that it happens, but Cypher gets out. But it's like sketchy the way that he gets out of that
'Cause he's
situation.
gone. They're all separated, yeah.
They're all separated, and then he like calls Tank for an exit. He gets out, and then Tank is like, oh, I just got Cypher out in the same place where you are, so I guess you guys come out too. So then Cypher comes out and just shoots Tank, and I was like, I knew it. I knew Tank was going to die, although he does end up not being dead.
Yeah.
But he shoots him. He shoots his brother, whose name I forgot.
Dozer.
Dozer, does he even speak
He
at all
literally
in this
does not
movie?
Also, how about Tank when like Mouse is dying and all this bad stuff has happened? They just keep cutting to Tank being like, oh God. It's just being like a sad little emotional baby.
There's got to be like a weird helplessness to like not being able to get into the Matrix.
Well, I actually wrote the word helplessness in my notes specifically about Trinity on the phone with Cypher, because I felt that way about her in the Matrix, knowing she couldn't save Apox and Switch.
Yeah, as soon as that started happening, where he was like, I'm just going to kill everybody, I was like, so everybody who hasn't spoken is going to die.
Yeah, at that point, pretty much the whole cast dies.
So, yeah, which is actually, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I was just thinking from Trinity's perspective of like, I mean, obviously these people have like rich relationships that we don't know the depth of. And you have to assume that her and Switch are close friends. And this helplessness, it doesn't matter. You could grab her, you can run as far as you want to.
Yeah.
You can't save her. That scene always really gets me.
And then the other guy, I didn't even catch his
Apox.
name. Apox? I didn't even know his name.
Yeah.
He did say one thing, which is it was like so jarring, because I think at one point he like randomly said something to Neo that was like, I hope the Oracle was right, or something like that. And I was like, who is this
that
guy?
Yeah.
And then he just immediately dies.
Yeah, I mean, kind of what I liked about this movie is there were deaths, and that death,
It's significant to the characters.
It's significant
but
to the
not
characters.
significant to us.
Exactly. So I'm not like crying in this movie, but I do like really feel for especially Trinity. All the stuff she says too about Morpheus, of how much she loves Morpheus and that she's going to go save him and all that stuff. It's like, these people like really went through a lot together.
Yeah.
And probably
years.
lost other people.
Yeah. If Cypher's been there for 9 years, imagine how long everybody else has been. This like family
Yeah.
for? So then the really interesting thing happens, because Cypher's like, well, let's see if the Oracle is right. If Neo is the one, then I can't pull the switch, right? It's not going to be possible. So, like, you tell me, Trinity, is he the one or is he not the one? And then she says yes. Amazing film moment. I love when this happens.
Yeah.
When she's like, yes, and he's like, no. But he's not saying it to her. He's saying it to Tank, who's alive,
Yes.
who shoots him down. That was... I love
so
when that happens.
good. That was a
movies.
great reveal. I love that Tank got his moment. And I also think this moment may have revealed that Cypher knew what Trinity's Oracle prediction was.
She must have told all of them.
Yeah, so I think he wasn't asking, is Neo the one? He was asking, are you in love with him?
It's crazy because I love, but I'm like, I hate that. I don't know why. It just like icks me. So then we get Agent Smith having like a little monologue to Morpheus, who's tied up.
I love this monologue because
I liked it too.
agree with everything he said.
I think it was really interesting because I even said in the beginning, like, I don't understand why they didn't just give everyone a utopia. But he said, like, there was a quote. I wrote it down. You probably wrote it down too.
I don't know if I wrote the whole thing down.
Humans define their reality through misery and suffering, he said.
Oh, that's a good one.
I loved it.
The one I wrote was talking about humans as a virus.
Oh, I have that too.
Because listen, I'm a bit of a nihilist. I'm a passive nihilist where I'm like, I'm not going to do anything about it.
Same.
But I'm also just like, I do believe that humans are a virus on the earth.
We are.
And
that's something
so I agreed with
think
what
that
you
comes up
said,
in a lot of AI themed movies. You know, we've been talking about iRobot a little bit in the last episode.
Yeah.
But that's the same concept. Like when AI takes over, they're going to realize that humanity is the virus.
Yeah.
We are the thing that needs to be destroyed.
Right, because they're this new sentience and they show up and they're like, wait a second.
These are the bad guys.
What have you done to this planet? You ruined the atmosphere. You ruined the climate, you know?
Natural resources.
All that stuff Smith was saying,
he's not wrong.
I totally agree
so you
with
agree
him.
He's kind of a hottie.
I totally agree he's kind of a hottie. But also, I think you can't be blamed for like the sins of your ancestors, and I think it was hundreds of years in the past of those humans. So these new freedom fighters, I can't say are a virus. I still believe in what they're trying to do.
No, I agree with you completely. And I do think that that brings up an interesting point because, again, it's not all black and white. Like, am I responsible for the world falling apart? I mean, I don't think so personally. But then again, humanity as a whole is a virus, for sure.
I fully agree.
So, yeah, do you want to read the quote that you got?
Well, that was I didn't write the whole quote, just about it being a virus. But also, like, I loved getting a little bit more insight into Mr. Smith. So he's not just sort of this villain with no dimension. I like that he was like, I want to get out of here. I don't want to be here.
He was like the smell.
Yeah. And he's like, if you guys are done with this cute little revolution you're doing, I can leave.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah.
And I felt bad for him.
I think he's such an intriguing villain.
So good.
Also, I was trying to think like more this time around about what it was that I thought was like kind of like low-key hot about him.
Tell me.
He talks with his bottom teeth. I don't know that I would find it attractive most of the time, but like when people are angry and they just really like bottom teeth come out, a little sexy.
Do they look like a bulldog?
No, Leah.
Okay.
You don't look like a bulldog.
I'll stop then.
I'm sorry.
It's
I know it's hard for you to accept that. So the crew back in real world is trying to discuss like basically breaking into Morpheus's mind as if they were hacking a computer.
Yes.
And they're going to get the Zion mainframe codes. My immediate thought, I wrote down, why wouldn't they just pull a plug on him? That's the easiest way. If he's getting tortured, he probably knows the best case scenario is that the crew pulls out my plug before I accidentally give this up.
Well, they wanted to.
Yeah. So yeah, and then immediately Tank was like, we got to do this. And Trinity's like, but then she agrees.
I feel like this is almost like a trolley problem situation.
Yeah.
Where we get Morpheus's...
It's very easy, though.
Well, Morpheus, I think, had an earlier trolley problem where he felt like he wasn't as valuable as Neo. But then Neo's like, no, dude, you are so much more valuable than me. And I think Trinity kind of feels that way, too. That Morpheus is like this leader.
Yeah.
And he's more valuable. And at this point, too, I don't think Neo's like believing in his oneness yet. So he is like, no, we need Morpheus.
Yeah. So then at that point, he actually admits, he stops them from pulling the plug. And he's like, so yeah, the Oracle basically admitted to me that I'm not the one, which is not true. She didn't specifically say it.
Yeah. He heard what he needed to hear.
Yeah. So then he is just like fully determined to go in and save Morpheus. He knows it's going to work. Trinity has her baddie moment where she's like, well, I'm
the captain of this ship, and I also love Morpheus a lot more than you know, but not like I love you.
Yeah.
She doesn't say that yet, but
Basically, she may as well. So that happens. Trinity also does not believe that he isn't the one, which I think falls into her being in love with him.
yes, which again I think is just what the Oracle needed to tell her to do what she needed to do.
I don't agree with you yet, but I'll think about it. I was just thinking about it. Trinity, isn't that like a religious word?
Trinity?
Yeah, like the Holy Trinity.
Oh, the Holy Trinity. Oh my God, Kelly, you're right. It is.
I'm right.
The Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost.
That's the three of them.
Yeah.
Well, is that three different people?
I don't know who the ghost is. I guess Father is God, the Son is Jesus.
Which isn't Jesus God?
We weren't raised in Catholicism. I don't even know how to say the word, so I don't know a lot of these things.
I don't either. I don't know if it's specifically Catholic.
Yeah, I guess it's just a lot
You're
of
like,
religions.
maybe we weren't raised in this very specific.
Wait, but who's the Holy Ghost?
I have no idea, Leah.
It's Morpheus.
Morpheus is God.
So Trinity is the Holy
This
Ghost.
is so sacrilegious.
Could it be Lucifer? No. It wouldn't be an evil guy. It would be...
That's a crazy thing to throw out there.
I don't know.
So this is an interesting part. While this is it intercuts. At the same time, this is when Agent Smith is talking about the smell and he hates it, and humans with the virus.
And Morpheus is looking not good.
Morpheus is looking rough.
Oh, I could barely look at him.
So rough.
Yeah. The eyes rolling back in his head, and he's all
sweaty and bloody and stuff.
Gross.
Yeah, it's tough. So Agent Smith at one point says something that I was like, why are you even saying that? Because he's like, now tell me the codes or you're gonna die. Really? That's my two options? Obviously I'm
gonna die.
I'll choose death.
Yeah, Morpheus would die.
That's
for the
not
cause.
even that big of a thing. Like,
Yeah.
if it's like, or you'll wish you were dead, that's more threatening to me, because then it's like, I'm gonna be alive and I'm gonna be suffering.
Yeah.
Like, dead? Okay, bye.
He does not care.
Yeah, he's just sitting there, bloody. This is when the real action starts hitting, and at this point, my eyes kind of glazed over.
Yeah.
But there's like a moment where they go to like this weapons simulation.
Yeah, which is whatever.
But Trinity says something interesting because she's like, this has never been done before. And Neo's like, yeah, that's why it's gonna work. And I was like, okay, Neo.
Because he's the one.
Because he's a man. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. So then they go into this high security office place, whatever. Bunch of security guards. This is cool because he's like, oh, like you have to, I don't know, do you have any metal on you? And he opens it. It's just a cool.
Like all the guns.
Yeah, all the guns. Very
and it doesn't
great.
matter. They're NPCs. Well, they are people, but they said
they're
something in the
people.
film where they were like, yes, these are people, but they're still plugged in, so you have to think of them as your enemy.
Yes. I forgot that they mentioned that. Yeah, and that anybody could be the
An
agents.
agent, yeah.
So yeah, at the point, like, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
So then a huge battle ensues. I don't know. Did anything important happen? They're just shooting each other.
Not in that battle before they got Morpheus. No.
There was one guy that Neo just kicks, and I was like, that guy's definitely still alive.
Yeah.
But then it blows up, so I guess it doesn't
It's
matter.
fine.
I hate in movies where they like leave someone alive, and then that person is like, oh, I'm gonna go run and tell everyone.
I did that in a video game once. I had a choice. My choice was kill him or let him go. That
You
was
didn't
my
let him
cross.
go?
Yeah, I let him go, and then he
Why?
snitched on me.
Oh no, you never let them go. You can't have mercy.
No.
If there's anything I've learned from action movies is that if you are like, oh, I won't kill you because then I'll be as bad as you, then you're gonna die.
Yeah.
So you do have to kill them.
In these movies.
In movies.
In movies.
I wouldn't kill anybody in real life.
No, me neither.
Unless. No, I'm just kidding.
Unless.
Then they went into the elevator. There was like a whole elevator thing. I didn't really understand. It was just supposed to be cool, I guess.
Yeah. Did they talk much in the elevator?
I don't think they touched at
Yeah,
all.
I only wrote one note for this whole like final section. It was another transcoded moment that I'm curious if you picked up on. It's all the way to the subway. So if you have other notes before the subway.
Oh, I have, yeah.
I'll hold it then.
Some
I'll
other
hold it.
stuff happens. Yeah. The bullet dodging happens.
Yes, that was on the roof.
That was
right?
big.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Trinity is like, oh, how did you do that? Because nobody has ever moved that fast except for agents. And he's like, well, I'm cool and I can do it.
I'm the one, baby.
And they had a whole moment with the helicopter.
Yes.
The bullets.
Her learning how to, he's like, do you know how to fly that? She's like, not yet. Hey, tank, program me in. Helicopter flying.
That was cool. I'll give her that.
Love that.
I did like, even though I don't care for action stuff, but then I was also like, this doesn't really make sense because he had this crazy, I don't know what kind of weapon it was. It was some kind of gun thing that shot a bunch. The bullets were like falling to the ground, which that was another thing. I was like, this is such like a fantasy thing because he's like shooting everything, shooting down all the agents. Morpheus is right there.
Oh, he misses him.
He doesn't get shot at all. He's
Yeah.
just like, fine. And then they're like, come on, Morpheus. Nobody's going to get him? Come on. He was being tortured.
He's fine.
They're like, he's got to come.
rub some dirt in it.
But yeah, so then, and then Neo like grabs him, saves him. They're like falling. Trinity saves them. They're fine. Everything's fine. They get to a subway because that's where the phone booth is.
Yep.
But Morpheus goes first. And then they're like, oh, who's going to go first? And then Neo was like, you go first because I love you, I guess. There was a very charged moment when they got off the helicopter where Neo and Trinity, I thought they were going to kiss. And then Morpheus pops up and he's like, hey.
Yeah. So that's all we're getting from Neo is like the way he looks at Trinity. There should have been.
I was looking at her that way too. This doesn't mean that I'm in love with her.
There definitely should have been more of a conversation.
So anyway, why don't you tell me about my little trans metaphor that I missed?
Knowing that these were trans writers, when he's fighting with Mr. Smith and Mr. Smith keeps calling him Mr. Anderson and he's like, no, my name is Neo. This is my name. This is who I am now. He's like who he's meant to be.
That's an interesting
And to me,
take
that
on
was
it.
like a huge trans metaphor.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then we missed the one thing that I thought was really cool was that as Trinity's answering the phone, Agent Smith shoots the phone. So she gets out.
But the phone.
But the phone doesn't. But yeah, so they have a huge fight. I actually did write down because I was a little confused. Like, is he? But that makes sense as a trans metaphor because I was like, why is he saying like my name is Neo? Like, but your last name is Anderson.
That was his name in the Matrix.
Do you think he ever went by Tommy?
Maybe.
Tommy
Nobody
Anderson?
ever calls him Thomas, so he could be Tommy Anderson. But yeah, I think Thomas Anderson was who I was in the Matrix. That was the name that was given to me that I don't associate with my identity and who I
That's
am.
an interesting
Neo
take.
is who I am. Every person who leaves the Matrix that we meet uses a different name. None of them use their given names, and that's so
Trinity
transcoded.
could be her name.
Trinity could be her name.
That is also a girl's name, isn't it?
Trinity? Yeah. Oh,
think
yeah. That's
so.
going to be like the #1 name of 2035 or something.
Why?
I don't know, because it's just like a weird name.
I doubt it. I would be shocked. It's going to be like River, Billy, Ocean.
Yeah, potentially.
So.
Darling.
Darling?
I don't know. Just
I
saying
don't know any
words.
babies named Darling.
Not yet.
Kylie was
2035.
apparently a big one.
Oh, yeah. Kylie
But-
Jenner.
Yeah. A lot of Hermione's out there now.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that interesting?
crazy.
Yeah. What other
Daenerys's?
movies? Yeah, a lot of
Daenerys.
Daenerys's. A lot of Tamlins. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, no. Avatar girlies, you know.
Yeah. You know there's some Pharaohs out there.
Oh, yeah.
So what happens next? Well, Neo
That's pretty much the end of the
dies. No.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about the big moment that Kelly's been waiting for.
Let me have this, please. So in classic Jesus fashion, Neo dies. And then Trinity does the same thing to him that ciphered it to her, where he was like being creepy and breathing over her body. And she's like, you can't die because the oracle told me that I love you and I do love you.
Yeah, I'm
And it
definitely
starts
not
kissing him.
justifying the fact that they kissed non-consensually.
And how did that bring him back to
consensually.
life? That's so dumb. But the good thing is he does wake up and he kisses her back, which was hot. I'll give you that.
That was hot, yeah.
I love a good grab, grab kiss.
I have to, in my mind, frame it in the perspective that they had a conversation that we were not privy to, where they said it was okay.
No, I know. And people get upset when I like bring this type of thing up. Not you, but like I would say.
I'm upset.
Okay, sorry. Well, some
not
people,
upset.
people like Leah get upset when I bring up this sort of thing in movies because they'll be like, well, this isn't real life. This is a movie. This is like, obviously he would have died if she hadn't kissed him back to life. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
I totally understand that. What I'm just saying is like some things pull me out of movies. And that's one of those things that like, I understand it is a movie. They're in love. It's fine. But like, it pulls me out of the movie because it's just like, if I was faced with a situation where like somebody that I thought was important to my rebel cause was dying, I wouldn't be like, let me make out with you.
And
Yeah.
I do think it sends a bad message to people.
Yeah.
Because even if, you know, we can suspend our disbelief and it's like, oh, maybe they had this conversation or whatever, that's not what's being shown. And especially young,
Yeah.
impressionable people see movies and they're like, that's what's
Yeah.
okay. Like on the flip side of that, like a good thing is like if you live in a really undiverse area, watching movies and watching TV can help teach you about other people in the world that you maybe are not privy to in your small
which
town.
we talked about a lot in Spirited Away.
Right, which is so great. But then on the flip side of it, something like a non-consensual kiss, regardless of the fact that the two characters were in love, they hadn't, as far as we know, had that conversation.
Yeah, and I think it's like, as much as I would love to say people know the difference between real life and movies,
Some people don't.
You see a lot. How many times have you seen, I'm sure you've seen it a lot back in the Facebook days, especially when people are like, oh, I would just want to love like the Joker and the Harley Quinn. Like the Joker and Harley Quinn. That's not a good relationship.
Really toxic.
That's not a relationship you want to model your life off of. Like, as much as I would love to say, oh, people know the difference. Of course people know the difference between this is a movie, of course you can kiss this character, and real life. Some people don't.
Yeah.
Some people think of like toxic relationships. I mean, I see people being like apologists all the time for characters on TV shows and movies that are like objectively bad partners or like do abusive things. And they're like, well, what did you expect? She was mean to him. Like stuff like that. And it's like, we do have to think about the message we're sending.
Yeah,
here.
I agree with that. So like, I did not love that part either. Especially, I had never even really thought of it. Cypher literally just did the exact same thing. So in my head, a conversation happened off screen. It was like, hey, if I'm ever passed out, it's like on the verge of death, you can kiss me.
Yeah. It is interesting, though, because it also brings up this idea, and I think we saw it a lot, especially back then. I think now people are better about it. But in movies, it would always be like when you're talking about a character that's like meant to be sexy, of course it's fine when they do it, but why isn't it okay when Cypher does it? Because honestly, it's not okay when either of them do it.
No, of course.
So I know that frustrates people. I know it frustrates people when we talk about this, but it's just, it's something to think about.
And it doesn't, I don't think it invalidates this movie. This movie came out in 1999.
Yeah,
it's
you have
such
to
an
think
old
about
movie.
when.
Yeah, and I think that's always important context of like when a movie came out and what the cultural and social climate was around then. Like, for example, that this is a clearly trans-coded movie, as I've said a million times, but it couldn't be. It had to be coded. It couldn't be trans because it came out in 1999.
Yeah. It's also an interesting perspective, I think, almost wondering if Trinity and Neo are one person.
Interesting.
Because like they're just two sides of the same coin.
Of the same coin, yeah.
Yeah. Is it the same person having an experience at two separate moments in time?
Yeah. And what else does the Oracle know that she's not telling us?
Ooh, does she know more?
She could.
Is the second movie the same people?
Yeah, so the trilogy is like a pretty bookended trilogy. The fourth movie was like a surprise. That wasn't anything anybody expected.
It came out way after, right?
It came out like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So years later. Years later. So
the word you're looking for is decade.
Thank you. Yeah, probably like a decade later. But yeah, the first 3 movies are very bookended, like start to finish. This is our characters. The fourth one was a little bonus that I really enjoyed.
Okay. So basically that's how the movie ends. She kisses him back to life. Classic Disney fashion.
And then he goes into Agent Smith and explodes him from the outside.
That was cool.
That was
great acting. Very cool. He also had the moment where he stopped a bullet.
Oh, the bullet. That was... And then he's like, when he's fighting with him, he's got this bored look on his face and he's just like...
he's just like... Yeah, very cool.
That was him believing.
Also, one thing I noticed. So in the beginning of the movie, I didn't mention this, but I did notice this. Trinity was in room 303 in the very beginning of the movie. At the end of the movie, Neo had to go to room 303 to get the phone.
Yeah.
Was it the same place? Who knows?
I don't know.
I only remember it because of the band.
303. That's really funny.
So I was like, hey, 303. And then at the end, he was like, room 303. And I was like, hey, 303.
There has to be some significance with that, but I don't know.
It would have been cool if it was 101, like binary.
Oh, yeah.
But you're like,
but it's non-binary.
No, 303 is non-binary code.
Yeah.
So should I pull up my list of questions? Is that it?
Well, I mean, I think the last thing I have to say about it is when they're watching Neo at the end here and Trinity's like, what's happening? He's like, oh, he's starting to believe. And this is really my final thought on the one. I don't think the one exists, but I think the same thing is like, what is real? The spoon is not real. All these things. If he believes he's the one, then he is.
Yeah.
So that's my thought on that.
That's an interesting thought. Yeah. And then he ends the movie. I wasn't sure if it was meant to be a trilogy. Like I just asked because he kind of is just like, we know who you are. We know what you're trying to do. We're going to stop you. And then he's like, has his cool leather jacket and sunglasses. He finally got his cool jacket and sunglasses.
Got upgraded.
But yeah, question number 1, who is your favorite character / the most interesting character?
There are a lot of interesting characters in this. Like I love Trinity and Neo as a duo.
As one person, maybe.
And I love my boy Mouse.
And
Morpheus too. It's so hard to pick.
Just everyone.
Everyone who lived, and Mouse.
I would say my favorite character was Agent Smith.
Oh,
I think.
Nice.
Yeah. Ooh, you were gonna say a bad word, Leah.
Yeah, I did. I saw myself. I was like, oh, we don't curse on this podcast.
We don't.
But
we do
in real life.
Friendly.
I don't know how we get through these podcasts without cursing.
I don't either. Isn't that impressive?
It's really impressive.
I'm like, oh my goodness.
oh my Lanta.
But yeah, no, I do think so. In terms of like, I think he's the most interesting because he is artificial intelligence, right? Mm-hmm. Does he have his own mind? I think it's an intriguing question to like ask, especially his monologue with Morpheus.
Oh, that's one of my favorite scenes.
That really made me me think of him as more than just like some sort of robot program, because I was just like, what is his
But that's another thing too, is does artificial intelligence have feelings? Do they have motivations? Do they have wants? Do they have needs? And
that's
I think
the question on everyone's mind.
Yeah, I know. And I think in this universe, the answer is yes. And I think that Smith does have his own. I actually think there's another universe where this movie was made from his perspective, where he's the hero. I feel like it's so easy to switch it and have him be the hero. Like iRobot. The AI in iRobot, they are the heroes.
Yeah, Sunny. Yeah.
I love that so much.
Me too. We have to watch it.
We have to watch it.
I have so much to say about it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a really long time,
really?
too. Yeah.
I think Ryan and I watched it together a couple of years ago, because I don't know that he had ever seen it. That might be the movie that I've seen the most times.
I've seen that movie a good amount.
Because I used to watch it a lot.
Yeah.
Because I was a big fan. But anyway, so that I would say is the most interesting character. But who is your least favorite? I'm sure we have the same.
Cypher.
Yeah,
Cypher sucks.
But that said, I thought he was a fun bad guy in this.
Yes.
I don't like him as a bad guy in Sopranos. I would love if he was dead. Well, he's probably going to die at the end of the season, is what I figure.
Yeah.
It's going to be like the end of season death. But in this, I thought he was a fun bad guy. Like, the ability to kill people by like unplugging them, very cool.
And I didn't love him jumping on Trinity. That was gross. But when he jumped on Morpheus, I liked that. I thought that was not, okay, Kelly, when he was like on top of him and he was like really overpowering him in like this physical way, I thought was really like off-putting in a way that I, as a viewer, enjoyed. I was like, jump on Morpheus. But the visual of it and sort of the power that character felt in that moment was apparent. And I thought that was a cool moment.
Yeah. And I also think he wasn't being sneaky about it. Like, yes, he betrayed them, but you knew from the beginning that he
wasn't happy.
He wasn't happy. And I thought
nobody was like listening to his needs.
Yeah. He was an unapologetic bad guy. And I thought that was cool. So I don't know. Is he my least favorite character? Probably not. I would say...
Don't Mouse.
I would say Mouse.
I can't believe it. That's so funny.
I'm sorry.
I just loved Mouse so much. I don't know what about him.
Well, I guess that is bringing us to the next question.
Who we are?
Who is Leah and who's
I'm
Kelli?
Mouse. I don't think I'm Mouse.
I don't think we would be friends.
I don't think I'm in this movie.
Oh, I think I would just be an NPC.
Yeah, you're just an NPC.
Like, I'm not even...
You're not even on their radar. You're so blue pill, they didn't even find you.
Yeah, I'm just chilling.
I'm probably one of the kids.
I'm literally me. Yeah. I'm just out there.
I don't really like identify.
You could be the kid with the spoon.
I was gonna say I'm Aang in this movie, potentially. Yeah. But I don't know. There isn't really a character, because I feel like all the time I'm the strong, badass woman. So I'm like, I'm Trinity, but I'm not.
Trinity,
I don't think I'm Trinity.
Because you don't strike me as a person whose motivation
is love.
And I mean that in the nicest way, but like I don't think that love would ever be your motivation.
I feel like I'm more Neo than I'm Trinity.
Yeah, but I don't think that you're as...
I'm not the one.
You're not the one, but you're also like, Neo seems like he's so purely good.
Yeah.
Which you're not.
I mean, I feel like...
no.
I there's definitely elements of Cypher where I'm like, yeah, I would like regret this choice, likely.
Yeah, maybe you're Switch. Maybe you're just like you're not the guy, but you're like one of the guys in the Resistance.
Or I'm Tank or Switch.
I don't think you'd be Tank. Yeah, Tank is way too good. You're not.
I feel like Tank would be like the person I'm dating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who I am, but maybe we'll say Switch. I'm Switch.
What does the film make you feel?
Oh, so many things. I mean, I wrote a whole like final paper on this film for like a film class that I took. I loved this film forever. It was in England. I think I mentioned. I think I mentioned.
Oh
in the
yeah,
pre-thoughts.
you mentioned in the pre-thoughts.
Yeah,
that was like
a week ago.
Yeah.
Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I feel nostalgia when I watch this movie. I can picture the room I was in the first time I watched it, and the feelings that I had the first time. It like really makes me question the universe. It really makes me excited for like what else could be out there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I love this movie.
I think for me, it invites a lot of thoughts.
Thoughts, yeah.
Like for me, it's always been a conversation of dimensions. It's never been a conversation about like we are in a programmed simulation. So I think that gives me another level. There are things that I obviously didn't love about the story, like the romance I thought was dumb.
Yeah.
Sorry. And like I don't love when it's so funny that I say like Neo is just fully like good on the spectrum of good versus evil when he is a hacker who's like dealing in black market things. So like technically he's probably not that good.
Yeah, he's just looking out for himself.
Yeah, but I would say he's like a purely good character. So I don't love that. I wish that he was a little bit less good.
Yeah, more conflicted.
Yeah.
But I feel like we got that from Smith, which was interesting. That we got that from our bad guy. We got, I wouldn't call it redemption at the end, but we got, getting that insight into him was really cool.
Very, very cool. Yeah. So yeah, that's how it made me feel. I don't think we answered this one for Spirited Away, but I also had written down, did we have any unanswered questions?
I think there's so many unanswered questions with this movie.
Absolutely. There's some for Spirited Away too.
Yeah. Well, too bad.
Bye.
Well, I mean, this one, I think for me, when I watched it, I was really intrigued about Zion. Really intrigued about Zion.
Yeah, would have loved to see it.
Maybe one day.
And I think I wish I could understand a little bit more about the powers. It seems like
it's pretty vague.
Sometimes it's like multiple people can do it. Sometimes only Neo can do it. So I would love to know. I think those were some unanswered questions for me. And then also logistically, like, how is this crew picked?
Where are they?
Who is it? And now, like, what happens now? These people are dead. Like, do they get another crew? But I guess some of those questions probably get answered
in the sequel.
Yeah.
I actually do have bad news for you about the sequel, which this isn't a spoiler because you find out right at the top. I don't know why. I think there's more information.
I love that you think I'm just going to go run and watch the sequel.
No, but I don't know what happened. But like, my assumption would be moving into the next movie, we'd have Morpheus, Neo, Trinity, and Tank.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that Mr. Smith.
Oh, no,
Agent
Tank. Tank does not appear again. Tank dies somewhere between 1 and 2, and we get I think it's his cousin, becomes like a main character.
That would have been, I think, an interesting and probably an easy thing to cover up. He just succumbed to his injuries. He only lived long enough to help them get out.
But I would be curious why he didn't appear in the second film. But the actor who plays his cousin is Michael from Lost. Not Michael Emerson, who plays Ben Linus, but actually Michael, who has the son, Walt, and the dog.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. I only watched Lost once.
I know. I've seen it like 100 times.
Ago. Yeah. That is pretty cool. But yeah, no, I think, and that brings up the next question, which is, would you watch it again? But in this case, I'll say, would you continue
the franchise?
I think I would.
Yeah.
I think I will. I don't know that we're going to be doing it on camera.
It would be cool to do like a Matrix recap if you finish the whole series.
I'll just watch the other movies on my own time. And
then let me know before you watch them so I can give you like, insight.
I don't know. Maybe. Okay, last question. That was good.
Audio listeners don't know what we're doing, which is funny. That was a mouth fart.
Leah just farted. Last question. Is it geeky? Absolutely. I haven't seen
yeah.
That might be the geekiest movie we've watched so far.
Geeky.
Like,
I think it's nerdy too.
I think this is more geeky than Star Wars.
Yeah.
This was like, if I was a stereotype of a geek, if I was like a guy in my mom's basement with my Mountain Dew. We were just talking about how much we love Baja Blast, but like
Mountain Dew, yeah.
And yeah,
sponsored by Baja Blast.
I wish.
Please sponsor us, Taco Bell.
Yeah.
I love you.
I did have my Taco Bell last night.
I'm having it tonight.
But yeah, no, if that was me, I would be like, oh yeah, I would totally lead a revolution. But like, no, I wouldn't.
Which is why I think that like the red pill imagery has been unfortunately taken over by like scary alt-right people, which is really unfortunate, especially because this is not who this movie was made for.
Yeah.
But I understand because it's so open to interpretation. I can see why that had been taken over.
But it also, like, I don't know if I joke with you about it or just Ryan, but like we always joke about like the male fantasy, right? It's like this idea, but this is literally this is a male fantasy movie. Like, this is like, oh, I'm such a nerd that I can program myself to learn kung fu, and then I could beat people with it, and then I could go pew 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 with all my guns, and it's like,
it is very male fantasy. Yeah.
Like, I know in real life
they knew how to make this movie a hit. Yeah. They knew. 100%. Lana and Lily, they knew.
So yeah, it's geeky.
Yeah, that's definitely geeky. And I would watch it again, by the way. You didn't ask me.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I literally watched it like 3 months ago, and this time I watched it on like double speed while I was doing something else.
Wait, that's literally what I did with Spirited Away.
Really? Because you had just watched Spirited Away.
I had just watched it like weeks before. And then I was like, well, I mean, I'll just watch it again. But I was like I was drawing, so I wasn't doing anything like important.
Yeah.
But I was just
I was like, I know this movie. It's just nice to get like more the beats and more of the details. So I watched it on
the
double
beats
speed.
And the deets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Well, anyway, what are we watching next?
What are we watching next? I don't know. Pew, pew. You want to do Spider-Man?
Yeah.
She wants to do.
It's not. It's actually.
That's a good sound. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I would love to do the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I've seen it, but I've seen it a very, very, very long time ago. So it will be interesting.
Can I be the expert?
You can be the expert. I'm going to be interested to see how much I remember of it because it's been a long time since I've seen it.
Well, I guess that's what we'll do next.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Who knows?
Who knows? I like that idea,
What
though.
is real?
Welcome to the desert of the real.
If you don't stop saying that, Leah,
Stay
don't forget to, you
okay,
gotta remind people. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I interrupt your dumb ending?
My dumb ending.
Anyway, make
sure. What were you going to say?
I was just
going
to say,
subscribe,
yeah,
comment.
you can give us a rating, only if it's good.
It is good.
Don't give us a rating if you don't like it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, don't rate us if you don't like it. If you don't like it, we'll see you never.
If you have any criticism, just leave it in the comments.
Keep it to yourself.
No.
No, I'm kidding.
No, we want to get better.
Yeah.
But we don't want it to ruin our ratings. We have like a 5-star rating.
Yeah,
I don't
we do.
ruin this.
Which is great.
Yeah, it's very sweet. Well, now that I've said it.
Now everyone's like, oh, 1 star,
Yeah.
1 star.
Yeah, but I would like to hear from you. So
yeah,
if
hear
you're
what
not,
movies you're thinking about.
We're on YouTube now. If you're not watching this, hey, it's me.
We have faces.
We do have faces. You already knew that. You can comment, even if you're a listener on like Spotify or Apple or something like that. You can always pop over to the YouTube just to leave us
a comment,
some feedback.
Yeah, let us know what you're thinking.
But also, just if you ever want to answer the questions, do it.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts on these movies too, and if you're enjoying them.
But yeah, and anyway,
until next time,
stay
geeky.
Stay geeky.
Bye.
Bye.